anytime we're talking about HR, all I hear is HR is not your friend. HR is here to protect the company. And I'm not even gonna gaslight y'all. Y'all are right, okay? It's rough out here in these streets. But I also want to take a moment because there are a lot of HR professionals like myself, and I think Tank is one as well, who is really just trying to create a space, right, where we can ask HR to do better and we can really call out what's going wrong, particularly from an equity lens, from a marginalized community lens. I get a lot of people reaching out to me about joining HR, and a couple of the things that they say is like, I don't have the degree. And they're like, well, I really love managing people. And I say to them, and I'm like, I'm serious, like, that's some of the best skills, like that's the best skill set that you could go into HR with, like really actually passionate about people. Right. Because I think some of the HR is not your friend, HR is there to protect the company, are people that actually don't have a lot of empathy.
Tell me a time you saw a bullet point that said you got to be cool with the people you work with. HR is not your friend, neither. Sales, marketing, C-suite, engineering, customer service. I don't have to actually like you. I'm gonna keep it 100. I don't actually have to like you. I have to deal with you. I have to engage with you. I have to respect you, right? We don't need to be friends. And I'm gonna put this out there too. A lot of y'all work besties is your biggest eye. I also understand the sentiment behind HR is not your friend. I'm not here to be that. That's not what I applied for. That's not what you applied for. So let's, as just individuals, let's work on that, because I get it. You're not wrong. I get it. At the same time, I think it's our biggest issue.
Hello, loves. It is Mercedes Swan, the Career Love Coach and host of the Career Love Podcast. This podcast is my love letter to the 9.8 million Black women in the workplace and a safe space for Black women who want to change the world to build a career, business, and lifestyle they love. So today we are talking about everything wrong with HR, okay? And if I look like I'm crying, I was from laughter because Take is hilarious, okay? Oh, we'll see. This probably is good. This episode is probably gonna be like 90% laugh track for me. That's fine. But I'm super excited about this because honestly, anytime I go live, anytime I'm having a conversation, podcast, whatever I'm doing that's collaborative, anytime we're talking about HR, all I hear is HR is not your friend. HR is here to protect the company. HR. And I'm not even gonna gaslight y'all. Y'all are right. Okay, it's rough out here in these streets. And so I do get the experience, but I also want to take a moment because there are a lot of HR professionals like myself, and I think Tank is one as well, who is really just trying to create a space, right, where we can ask HR to do better and we can really call out what's going wrong, particularly from an equity lens, from a marginalized community lens, what is going on. And so I think today we can talk about the HR landscape, and Tank's going to help me do that. We're going to have a lot of fun. So today we're going to talk about what HR gets wrong. We're going to talk about poor leadership in the HR field. SHRM rant is coming. Okay, I asked Tank to hold it together, but I don't think we're going to be successful. That's fine. And then we're going to talk about really how HR professionals can really support marginalized groups in their needs. So with that being said, I'm super excited to introduce Tank. I'm going to let him introduce himself, but Tank is HR's agent of chaos, okay? He is chaos personified, and I think that is so funny. When I saw his username before I even, had started chatting with him or followed, I was like, this is what we need, okay? And so Tank is Boston born and raised, and he shares his raw and uncut experiences on being not only a Black person in corporate America, because we're child the ghetto, but also being a Black cis-het man in human resources. And when he's not online, because, it's fun watching him online, by the way, you can find him in the kitchen, on a dance floor, a skate park, a snowy mountain, eclectic, okay, behind a drum kit, or locked into video games. I feel like we gotta hear from Tank a little bit about Tank's villain origin story, because I feel like that's what I'm gonna call it, your villain origin story, okay? And then, we can go into my hot take questions. So go for it, Tank.
I'm with that. I'm very excited. I'm so happy to be a part of this. The villain origin story is kind of two halves of a whole. The name in and of itself actually came from a hilarious conversation a friend and I were having. And she was like, you are the most chaotic person I know. And I proceeded to say that's on purpose, because I personally believe you need to let people know right away that you're a little bit crazy so they don't play with you.
Exactly. Honestly, if we left this podcast with no advice and we just said you got to let people know you're a little bit crazy.
Yeah. I seen a
Chaotic.
video a couple weeks ago, and this dude said, um, "I'm a lunatic, not stupid," and I just need it tatted somewhere on me. I need it tatted somewhere on me for real. But yeah, so that kind of we were talking about TikTok, and this was 4 years ago. So we were talking about TikTok and whether I should even do it or not. A number of friends were like, "You should just get on there and say what you need to say because a lot of people need to hear it." I was completely opposed to being a content creator. I was like, I don't need to do all that. And they're like, "Well, you do it on all the other stuff," and I'm like, "All right, fine." And then 4 years and I don't know, 40 something thousand followers later, I guess I'm still allowed to be a little bit, you know? But I think the turning point, and there's been a lot of them early on. So I've been in HR for the last 7 years, and I've done a lot of bit of everything since I've been here. I realized HR was ghetto after I got in it, but thinking back to the barriers I had to break through to get into it. I do not possess a college degree. Um, I put myself through the certification process. Um, but in my retail life, so I did 15 years of retail before this. In my retail life, and having the chance to kind of grow and become better as a people manager, and then learning, like, okay, there's like corporate roles that a lot of these people have evolved into. I want to be one of those. I got enough experience. I understand people personally. I think better than most because the feedback I got a lot in my management life was like, "Hey, you get a little bit too close to your employees," and I'm like, "Well, why are y'all in charge of people you don't fucking know? That sounds stupid. Uh, that sounds really stupid to me." So that aside, I kind of took all of those and I was like, okay, well, what is the department in a company that's responsible for people? And I didn't know anything about HR at the time. I didn't realize like this was the team, at least that the world looked at as responsible for people. So it's like, cool, I want to try and do HR stuff. Um, Quit retail before I even had another job. Got into HR about 2 years in, started learning the business element of things. And that's when I realized, okay, HR clearly is its own problem, and we're going to get to that. But everything else that contributes to HR being a problem is the bigger issue. That's when I realized, okay, this is the projects of hell, and we need to have a conversation about it.
I'm
We
sorry,
have a
over here
conversation about it
dying
now.
because I'm trying so hard because like everything you say I want to react to, and I was like, I need to let you talk, but I'm over here just dying, which I'm like muting because thank you.
I'm like Mercedes said in the beginning. We are not here to play today. Everything. I'm Cat Williams. Is the whole interview. I'm Cat Williams. This whole thing.
Period. The Cavaliers of HR. We're gonna
I'm
tell it
Cat
like
Williams. This whole
it
thing. More
is.
games. No, none whatsoever. But yeah, it's been a number of things as I've been walking through this journey that have kind of revealed to me as I've put myself out there more as not just a black person who didn't take the traditional path. We all know what that actually means. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Into a corporate space and then getting to the point that I have at such a speed that most would be like, well, did you really do all of these things? And we can have a whole conversation about black excellence as well. Cause we ain't got papers all over the wall don't mean I don't know nothing. A lot of y'all lack this.
And some
A
of
lot of
us
y'all
do have papers on the wall. Okay, I don't know
and
if y'all can
still
see
can't
that.
get a break because we can cover that too, especially black women. We could do
Period.
that all day,
Yes, we
all
can.
day. There's definitely gonna be a part two to this because I'm about to crash. Uh,
We're not getting to any questions. It's
I'm
just,
just gonna
it's
crash.
just for laughs and giggles.
Right.
No.
So yeah, there's been no specific moment other than looking back and just reflecting on all the people I've encountered, the now clear to me lack of representation in HR, um, And just like the my experience in the last couple of years of just being a job seeker amongst the many HR people who have been job
Mhm.
seekers for the last 2 years are in the same boat that I've been, regardless of their identity, background, whatever it is. People trying to switch over into HR from a different field or whatever it is, in your organization, in your career, in your life in general. There's a lot going on that there's a ton of advice. There's a ton of platforms, and there's a ton of people um, who are or are not saying the things that they should be saying.
I'm gonna let you speak. Oh, but Tank has the best HR story of all time. That being said, I think it's interesting because I shouldn't have gone there. But I think it's interesting because being in HR, just having a platform, like you said, I also love that because I was like, you need this platform. Like people in HR, but just people who don't necessarily know what HR is, know how to navigate it, are marginalized voices, need to see that representation. I'm so glad you got your TikTok to where it is. I'm so glad that you're still doing the thing and like going for
Thank
it,
you.
even if it's uncomfortable. So I just always over here supporting you. I get a lot of people reaching out to me about joining HR, and a couple of the things that they say is like, I don't have the degree. And they're like, well, I really love managing people. I know the problems that I've seen like as a manager. And I say to them, and I'm like, I'm serious, like that's some of the best skills, like that's the best skill set that you could go into HR with. Like really actually passionate about people,
Right.
because I think some of the HR is not your friend, HR is there to protect the company, or people that actually don't have a lot of empathy for other people. And I always say, like, no, if I'm fighting for an employee to get what I think that they deserve, what I feel like is fair, what is equitable, then I am protecting the company. But also, like, it's because I care about them. And they might not always think that because of all of the process and whatever else, the problems with HR that we'll probably talk about, like, of
Mm-hmm.
making that thing happen. But because I'm passionate about a person and making sure that a person is whole, one of my favorite HR leaders that I've ever worked with was like, I just want to make sure people are whole, even if we have to make a hard decision because of life, whatever, COVID, layoffs, whatever. I want to try and make people as whole as I possibly can. And I feel like coming at HR with that energy would resolve a lot of the issues that we have. So that being said, passion for people, genuine empathy, and leading people is one of the best skill sets that you can have. And there are people out there, and I say this and people don't believe me, there are people out there. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not going to say it's going to change overnight, particularly in this job market, but don't give
Right.
up on that dream, because it's people like you that we do need in HR. And it's also harder for you to get into HR because if you are the change, you are the disruptor, you are the villain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's disrupting their space. A lot of people don't want that, right? And so when I would go into, I always lead with the strategic. People just think I'm very nice. I am very nice and I am very sweet, and but I'm not gonna let you do something that I don't think is right.
I'll
And
bite
so
you
if
for
you want to
real.
deal with
Like,
that, yeah. Yeah, well, for me, it'll be like, oh, did she just bite me? Is that just what happened? I was like, yeah, I did. You didn't know
100%.
it, but
Yeah.
I'm coming for the employees, right? And so I think we need more of that energy, right? Of saying like, let's really shift and change systems that are going to help employees. And so it's you, like if you're listening to this because you have a different perspective on what's wrong and because you're passionate, you're going to make the change
Right.
that, of course, I think Tank is making in this space. So yeah, what's your thought? But yeah,
I
any thoughts, Tank? Oh, did it just do a
Yeah,
heart
no.
reaction?
I guess so.
I guess so.
I'm
Didn't know it did
whatever's going.
that.
I'm with it. So I everything I co-sign everything you said, and I wanna make something. I want to make a few things clear. Um, a lot of this is just my perspective again from my experience. I want everybody to take what you need to take with a grain of salt, and if it don't apply, let it fly. Because if you apply it and it didn't need to, and you step to me, we're having a different conversation. Uh, the minute I realized I was being labeled as a disruptor, it immediately made me feel uncomfortable because words matter. And I get it in the grand scheme of things. We were, especially 2020, we saw what we saw on the internet with George Floyd, and we're like, cool, we're gonna speed up this process of making sure everybody feel like they at home, right? The problem is we immediately turned a lot of this into a strictly business issue versus it being okay, before we try and bring this into the workplace, what am I doing at home, on the train or bus, and in my car, commuting to and from work? What is something that I need to sit with and unpack doing whatever recreational activity you do to be like, how am I contributing to making this worse? What have I done to make this worse? I remember, here's a piece of that HR villain origin story. I remember in a Zoom call once. It was a bunch of C-suite leaders and myself. I don't know why I got invited to this, but I was in the room. Um, Everyone's talking about DEI and all the things that come with that, right? Or what they thought came with it at the time. We did a breakout room at some point, and a particular question had come up about uncomfortable conversations. And I also take issue with that phrase because this is only uncomfortable for those of you who have not had this be a consistent experience of yours. My first conversation about watching how I walk, talk, move in different spaces, I was 6. That's not, especially as a larger Black man who at the time was growing up in a what appeared to be a visibly wider space and wider city. Having told people that I had that conversation at 5, 6 years old with my grandmother in the middle of a Macy's is not on anyone's bingo card. But cross it off, because it is now. You're hearing it from the person who got the talk. My sisters got that talk like all before the age of 10. And when we were in the Zoom room, I had asked, before we tried to come up with an answer for this question, if we could take a second and be like, hey, let's talk through what uncomfortable actually is here. It immediately got shut down. And I was like, got it. This whole DEI movement is not going to work. I called that 4 years ago. And things have transpired since, some very recently, and then people started complying in advance, and here we are.
Here we are. And they really did F around and find out.
Mm-hmm.
Truly. In front of us all. Yeah, I think it's interesting. And it's like, some of us are just always uncomfortable, right? Uncomfortable, quote unquote. But It's also like, by centering this, we're going to have uncomfortable conversations. Like, let's not like center your whiteness. like let's actually center the marginalized people, which is like, what about an oppressed like being? Like, what does that look like? You're oppressed for the duration of this conversation, and now we're talking about it's uncomfortable. Okay, that's great. Yeah,
you get to peel off all them layers once you clock out, and you don't got to be part of it.
Yeah, I still gotta go.
No more. I still got to lead this building, go off the Zoom call, go outside, and subconsciously
and be alive.
Think about the
hopefully,
things that could happen
really.
I just want to go to the store, come back to the crib. That's it.
That's dangerous.
Like,
really?
that's genuinely dangerous. That should not be dangerous. It's really stupid. We need to start calling things what they are. That's stupid. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
This whole like lack of inclusion thing is stupid. Having policies that actively work against your staff is stupid.
It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the organization. It helps nobody but somebody's ego and somebody's their white fragility. Period.
If it's not ego in the pockets, because those two things are hand in hand, that's stupid.
Well, that's the thing that really gets me though, because it's not even the pockets. Like, if we think about it, right? It's not even like the pockets.
Some of y'all pockets is still thin as hell, and you out here moving like you gonna get that bread put in your bank account in person directly.
Well, one of the things that I thought was funny in this whole thing, it's not funny, but like that I thought was really interesting. Let's say interesting is, who really wasn't coming back with all the DI stuff? The banks.
Clocked.
I clocked that so fast. I was like, who? JP Morgan and Capital One is still, and what's the other one? Goldman Sachs. They said and is still doing.
Right. Because we got all y'all money, so try something.
Exactly. And I was like, so when you talk about the money thing, right? When you say, the DEI is about the pockets and thing, it's like, it's not
We
even about
put,
that.
put
It's
it,
about the
yeah, put a couple
ego.
asterisks next
It's
to
a
that one.
privilege. It's a big
Right.
asterisk. Okay, because the
Right.
money is where the where the true DI follows, right? The people who
Hmm.
are really having actual uncomfortable conversations of like, I am unpacking how racism shows up in how I interact with everybody each day.
Right.
I'll kudo that uncomfortable conversation for you. Like that's actually uncomfortable. Like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, let me actually look at it
Make
and
it
say,
make your
oh
skin crawl a little bit, get some goosebumps,
yeah. I was like,
make you
okay,
think
okay.
different.
Now that's where the DEI money is going. Like, let's really
Right.
talk about it. So
Right.
anyway, but I was like, ooh, that list is interesting. I'm seeing some
Uh-huh.
trends.
Uh-huh.
Cause I was like, let me see it. Cause honestly, I don't even play with you. Like, there were some things I was like, well, I guess I gotta go through everybody that has my money or is getting my money. And I
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
I
oh, my
went through
banks
that
are
list.
okay. All the banks are okay.
I went through that list in January, and I've been going through it ever since. Because what you're not going to do is play with somebody's money who's unemployed, and then you turn around and
Period.
do and saying the things that you've been doing and saying.
Yeah.
Nah, you can take that
Yeah, yeah.
somewhere
Your
else. Don't play
actions
with
are
me.
actually impacting me. For real.
Right.
Yeah.
Play with somebody else. It's not safe here.
Yeah, it's a lot. All right, I want us to go to hot takes. So I don't know if Tank's gonna survive this. I don't know if the audience is gonna survive this. I'm
Oh.
sure that when we're gonna listen to this, the poor audio is gonna be cutting out because I'm laughing so much. Anyway, that's fine. I apologize to the listeners. I'm just loud, okay? I tried to match my guest energy, and so I just knew this was gonna be a hot mess. All right, so we have 3 hot takes. I'm encouraging Tank to give his hot take in one sentence. I don't know if we're gonna survive. We're probably not. It's fine. This is gonna be the whole episode. Probably the whole episode is gonna be the 3 hot takes. But if you haven't heard, if I had a choice, okay, so my SHRM certification's over there in the corner. If you can't see it, my SHRM certification's over there. Okay, if HRCI came out and said you can transfer, whatever you want to say, your SHRM certification over to us, you just gotta pay a fee. I'm like, what you want?
What you
What
want?
do
What
you
you
want?
need?
I'm not sitting down for the test. I'm not doing it. But if you want some money, HRCI, you can have it, okay? Because I'm done with
Right.
SHRM. But I'm also not letting my certification lapse. I'm just not doing it, right?
Right.
So it's fine. I am a certified HR professional. So is Tank. But SHRM has been in some hot mess waters. And I honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. I did not know this until like about a year ago because I was in higher education. And so higher
Mm.
education has a different kind of governing body for human resources. It's Coupa HR that I had been connected and working with. And they also had like a DEI maturity matrix. Like all of my focus until I had switched back into nonprofit was on Coupa HR. And so I didn't see all the mess. And it wasn't until all of this other stuff with, the SHRM CEO removing equity that I was like, it was almost like I was like, pulling up the mess, pulling up all the whatever covers and rugs and whatever. I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, and so I think Tank made a video about it too. Anyway, all of that being said, because they are with the mess, if you saw Mr. SHRM CEO, Johnny C. Taylor himself outside, Tank, what do you got to say?
I would look him in his face and be like, "Dang, they almost let you in the house, didn't they?" Yeah, yeah,
Oh!
we're going there. Absolutely. They almost let you in the house. Then they said, "Nah, you gotta stay outside."
You cooked. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 They almost
Yeah.
let you in the
That's right.
house.
Uh-huh.
Oops.
Let that sit for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. You did good.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you.
because
Yeah.
I have a few videos about Mr. Taylor, Sherman General, Sherman
Yeah.
General, and I have once I was aware of HR certifications and the things that went into that. Um, I'd always been nervous about doing those in the beginning because I'm like, do these actually mean anything? Especially for someone who like is freshly transitioned. Like I got my certification like 2 years after I joined the people field in general. So I'm like, cool, maybe this will give me a little bit of something. I was very fortunate at the time that I was at a company that gave a shit about humans. So I remember telling my chief people officer at the time that I was doing this thing, and I never brought it up to her that I was doing this thing. So we had just gone through the COVID layoff like everybody else. I was only recruiting. I was solely in charge of talent acquisition, and it was everybody from my team except me and her who got let go. So I was like, cool, there's a version of this where like this is obviously very bittersweet, but like there's a version of this where I can prove myself right now. So it's like, cool, let's go learn a bunch of shit that I don't know yet. Went to HRCI, liked their structure, liked how they were doing things. I didn't know too much about like their ethics, outside of whatever they produce for content and stuff like that. But I was like, this just feels better. I don't know why yet, but it does. So spent the summer 2020 studying for the APHR. Took the test the day before my birthday. Fun fact, for a little bit, don't do that because it's stressful. Right, I could have ruined my whole birthday, and my birthday was on a Saturday.
The whole
that year.
birthday gone.
I could have ruined
It's
that whole
so
thing.
stressful. Yes.
Don't do that.
No.
But I took it. I was expecting to wait like however long it took to hear back for the results. I got the results not even 5 minutes later, and I ran into the fucking living room and like broke down in tears because I don't do well in structured learning settings. Like it's actually really hard for me to absorb information. So I was terrified of already doing this on my own. Then I decided to take the test the day before my birthday, which was not intelligent. Please don't do that. And I started kind of seeing, as I've done webinars in both. I've been to events in person and online. And I'm like, some of y'all with these SHRM certificates, y'all a little mean. And that's all I could label it as at the time. It's like, y'all a little mean. Y'all on a pedestal that I don't think someone put you on. I think you put yourself there. Then I learned about, again, more of the industry, more of these governing bodies. And I'm like, oh, so this governing body is the pedestal builder. And there's a unique form of elitism happening here. And we'll get to the other stuff that the connections I've made within this. And then a few years ago, the first lawsuit against SHRM came out where someone was wrongfully terminated. And I was like, okay, but y'all supposed to know what y'all doing because y'all telling us to pay y'all for these papers on the wall to tell us not to do that.
And I'm going to rag on the SHRM when you done. Take your time. When you done, I'm going to rag on that test.
I thought we was all supposed to know better. I'm not asking for perfection. What I am asking for is this didn't need to become the PR stunt it became, right? Then election season happened, and we was learning about who was going to be on whose board and running stuff in the government. And I seen that dude's name, and I was like, ain't no fucking way. That's not a thing. This can't be. I actually didn't believe it at first. Amongst all the other things I made was really easy for me to believe. I was like, nah. And I went to the deep dive, and I was like, oh, this is for real. You definitely not getting this job, but I want to see what happens.
Tokens get spent.
They was talking about getting rid of the NLRB, the National Labor Relations Board, and like, which
is wild.
What are you going to be in charge of? Congratulations on your glass cliff opportunity. Like, so I have been cooked for making videos about SHRM before and being outspoken about all the things that happened, because the very first thing that I got made aware of was their response to George Floyd's murder. And that's when they really showed up on my radar. And I was like, oh, so y'all just messy because you can get away with it. Like you're the Amazon of these things, right? You run shit. Like you can just do this.
Whenever anybody comes to me and they're like, hey, do I need the certification? I'm like, no. And I think that does feed into that elitism of like, what does the SHRM certification mean, right? And very like you, I love my first supervisor. He went and got his SHRM certification. He was like, I'm doing this. You need to do this too. And I'm sitting here, I just graduated. I am not studying. I am like a couple months post master's degree, sir. I am not doing this. I am tired. No, okay. But he was like, well,
we pay for something else.
I didn't pay for it.
Hey,
I didn't pay for it. I said, great mentor. Okay, love him
love
bad.
that.
That being said, but I was like, it was the mental emotional piece of like getting certified in it. So very much like you, I made that decision like very early into my HR journey, and that was right when that HRCI SHRM rift kind of just had happened, and so people were deciding, oh, do I stick with here? Do I transfer it to SHRM? Do I whatever, right? Or I don't know. I think you could technically keep both. And so, like you, right? You're like, oh, this is this body, like this, and at the time it's like, oh, this is that girl in HR, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
I'm like, oh, shoot.
so I was like, I'm gonna go with the SHRM, right? Because
Right.
they are like HRCI used to be the partner for them, so I was like, well, I
Right.
should just get a SHRM. That's who it is. And I was taking it, and I was like, this is really like a strange certification test, and I say this all the time. I was like, it's a great credential, like on paper, right? Yes, it is respected. But at the end of the day, when you take that test, you are not taking an HR test to really say, hey, I'm showing up as this great HR professional. I'm always making the best people-centered decisions. You are answering the test how you think SHRM would answer this. And that, I think, is a key issue with it. And like, I have no context for the HRCI one, but for the SHRM certification, I could tell you 50 million other ways that I would have answered that in my current context, in my current role. Mm-hmm. By the way, I was testing when all of the insane like executive orders were going through. So when I signed up for the test, and by the time I signed up for the materials, in between the time that I tested, they had to send out like addendums, right, to how to answer things because of the executive orders. And that brings me back to this thing about like, oh, well, SHRM is this. SHRM is like the litmus test of what's okay in society right now. Like they are going to align how they conduct HR with just whatever is acceptable. And that makes sense based on what we know about Mr. Taylor, okay? Right. Because that is the truth, right? It shouldn't be that I'm taking a test and whatever the legislation of the sitting president has overturned, right? Which at the time it was about essentially protections for sexual orientation, right? So I took I was studying, this is a protected class. I'm taking the test, this is no longer a protected class. And that's insane, right? And that's what I think. Yes, we do want HR professionals to know the legalities, but what about talking about showing up to shift and change and create a workplace that people really want to be at and be included? Mm-hmm. And like, that is my issue. Mercedes, when she got this certification, I didn't even know what DEI was. I remember my first interaction with
Go ahead, because I'm ready.
I didn't have the words for it. The individual who was interested in this had received a portfolio from another organization. I'm not putting no names out there. Received a portfolio from another organization where they were tracking diversity metrics. This is well in advance of 2020. That organization ended up being my next employer. Okay, all right. Yeah. And they were doing this kind of and I'm not saying it's ahead by any means, like we're far behind where we should be, but in terms of ahead of the curve of 2020 and the performative nature of things, and was like, we should start doing this. And it's like, we should start doing what? Well, hiring diversity. Don't you see me? I see you, you see me?
Right. Like, hello.
Who do you think I've been hiring? Okay. Who do you think is coming through the door? Okay.
Diversity not in the room with us right now?
Well, I was for sure at the time. I was the only, for a little bit. There was only two women of color. I was only a Black person for a while. But in terms of who was hiring out, and I'm saying that in the office, but who was hired out there was definitely more diverse, right? Because of where we were pulling in candidates from, right? And that's the whole thing of like, okay, so you can't recognize that you've already done this. You need some report from some other institution that you would rather be. That's weird. It's a lot.
It's messy out here.
It's gross. Which takes me to the next one. course you know about the Career Love podcast, but do you know about the Career Love community? The Career Love community is a safe, inclusive, and warm environment that I created for Black women who are working on their big career, life, and business goals. The community not only offers a safe space for you to achieve those goals, but it also offers training, guides, resources, and even support like group coaching to help you accomplish those things faster. And because the community is by Black women for Black women, you'll know that your experiences and how you navigate the world as a Black woman is seen, heard, and deeply felt by the other beautiful Black women in this beautiful community. It's my goal to help Black women enter their Black woman bliss era by creating careers and businesses they really love with clarity and confidence. So if this sounds like you, go ahead and learn more about the community in the show notes. You can watch a webinar or you can directly join. And of course, let me know if you have any questions. You're always welcome to reach out. All right, let's get back to the show. HR ick. HR ick. What is one thing that HR needs to stop doing like now, like right now?
Stop being quiet, because it's led to a lot of misunderstandings and misinterpretations of not just who we are, but what we do versus what we should be doing. And that has snowballed into complacency, right? Now, we understand, those of us who wish to do so, we understand systemics and infrastructure, especially in business. There's only so much you can say or do before you become a liability to an organization, or you become a liability for yourself and you lose your job, you get pushed out, however that takes place, right? You get made to be uncomfortable and you're like, well, I'm just going to look somewhere else, and they're just doing it because they want to get rid of you now, right? The HR's not your friend thing. The first time I saw that on TikTok, I had never heard that before in my life.
How?
Never, ever. Now,
where have you been?
Okay. It's a great question. Great question.
I'm joking.
Because what's funny is, we can go there. What's funny is I had a number of negative interactions with HR people before I even got into the field. And again, didn't really make the alignment of like, oh, this is like this person. This is what I would be doing if I ever got the chance. More so operation, not so much the actual action. But getting online, seeing all those comments all the time, and I can see how that can easily drive someone away, right? Just being like, I'm not going to make any more content because people are tripping. I come from 2009 Twitter. There's very little you can say to me that will scare me off the internet, right? Like, first off, we calling him what the name his daddy gave him is Twitter. Full stop.
It's Twitter, what his daddy named him. I'm not over there, but it's Twitter.
Not changing nothing. But I was seeing those comments and I was like, okay, cool. So of all the jobs all of you have had in your life that you've applied to, especially, because more often than not, you're applying versus being sought out. Tell me a time you saw a bullet point that said you got to be cool with the people you work with. HR is not your friend, neither. Sales, marketing, C-suite, engineering, customer service, product, like none of them. I don't have to actually like you. I'm going to keep it 100. I don't actually have to like you. I have to deal with you. I have to engage with you. I have to respect you, right? We don't need to be friends. And I'm going to put this out there too. A lot of y'all work besties is your biggest op.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes.
So, y'all want to talk about T?
Wait,
working human resources.
I think we need a moment. let that sit in.
Your work bestie is some of y'all's biggest op, and you need to dial it that before you end up.
Period.
I have so many stories, and I can't tell them without putting people on.
And by the way, I'm gonna put this out here real quick. I'm saying this as somebody who has like legitimate work friends that I'm still friends with. And by the way, my fiance is from where I work. That it still remains true that a lot of times we do not practice discernment of who we decide to trust. And then we want to turn around and say, oh, well, you can't show up to work as your full self. You can't show up to work as this and that. It's like, okay, but who are you showing up with? Like, the workplace is not safe with us. Are you in a safe workplace?
Right.
Well, respectfully, and I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm just saying it is what it is. And so, like, just recognize and realize. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
period.
You strip it down to its bare bones. Like, yes, obviously, I want to get along with you. I want to have positive engagements with you. I want to be able to exchange any kind of constructive criticism without the respect and the empathy disappearing from that interaction. I also understand the sentiment behind HR is not your friend. I'm not here to be that. That's not what I applied for. That's not what you applied for. So let's, as just individuals, let's work on that because I get it. You're not wrong. I
Yeah.
get it. At the same time, human resources has, I think it's our biggest issue, the confidentiality. It's like,
Mm.
okay, there are things you actually can talk about because it actually helps people. Sharing things
Yes.
about labor laws and anything inclusion related and do's and don'ts on your resume and do's and don'ts on in an interview and interactions with your leaders. And for y'all leaders, y'all come at your direct reports wrong a lot too. That's why we always having conversations with y'all.
That's why we're here, unfortunately.
Stop tripping. Start sharing the experiences
Yeah.
helps you, helps other people who also work in HR alongside you, who do have the best intentions in mind, even if they don't know how to execute on them. But more so the people who don't see you every day, who don't get to talk to you every day. Not how many people you know just pull up to the HR people and like sit and have lunch with them just cause. It's a very isolating experience. So if you're not kicking it
I'm
with
the
other
HR
HR
person that
people,
people have lunch with.
oh, people take me out. I tell you what,
Period.
people
They
take
like
me out.
me.
Oh, and it's because
But
I'm
y'all
not gonna
don't got
front.
me or Tank. I'm just putting that out
Right.
there.
Like I'm gonna keep it 100. I get taken out for dinner and beers all the time. Like it's been a thing, but
Period.
it isn't to win me over, and I don't allow that to happen. It's because I
Yeah.
come at people like they're fucking people. Like this shouldn't be a conversation. Like also me
Period.
getting to know my team because I've been open about the things I do and do not know, and willing to seek information to get better at it.
Yeah.
Whenever there is a not so great interaction, I want you to know to the best of my ability that this isn't specifically about you. This isn't because of any kind of like gripe or anything of the sort. If you've been tripping, I might have to include that, right? Because not all investigations end the same way.
Well, you were
But
tripping at
it's
work.
not
Like
because
you were tripping
right,
here.
right.
But yeah.
Because look, I'm gonna keep it a million. Once I'm off the clock, don't ask me shit. I don't know what happened unless it's like real serious, and I gotta kind of be a part
I
of it. But
like to
like,
have a
don't.
good time. Okay. I'm
I'm
not
off 5
HR
o'clock.
Mercedes is not outside
We off the clock.
Mercedes.
Yeah, we going. We. I'm gonna be the worst one. I'm acting up. I'm
Period. And that's why
outside.
HR gets in trouble at the holiday parties, okay? Because
Oh my
we like to have
goodness.
a good time. Don't let no HR people get together at a Christmas
one
party.
of my one of my employers had their Christmas party in Miami. Man, I'm
Terrible
so
decision,
happy.
I think.
I'm so glad I got good knees. I'm so glad I got good knees. We was doing everything but standing still. Okay, like
That's good.
don't let this frame fool you. I get upside down, sideways, and we float on the dance floor. We float.
I'm crying. Um, yeah. Woo. Yeah.
But
This
yeah, like
holiday
speak
party is
up,
the same
talk
thing.
about the things.
Period.
Like we people don't know what we do because we're like the least visible team in the workspace, which is
Yeah.
why no one trusts us. People don't even think we're a business function.
That's true. Well, we want to talk about
That's
how people don't think DI is a business function. I was like, there was somebody, I was like, I'm not even gonna, but there was a guy on LinkedIn. I was like, you know what? Do I have time for this energy wise? I'm gonna spend time on this man. He's like, DI isn't a business function. I was like,
hey man, if you like it, I love it, but we not that we not having that conversation today. If you're not paying for me for that conversation, we not having it.
There was another one that I saw that people were like, I'm tired of people talking about inclusion and calling me a Karen. Like, my name's Karen. And I was like, get my keyboard. And I was like, nope. Slowly back away,
Nope.
girls. Back away. All right.
That sounds
There's
personal.
just a lot out there. Like, But I kind of love your dynamic of like helping people reframe like their relationship with human resources. And I also I always love like a good disagreement, because I actually feel like if HR was decide to be say, oh, what would it look like to actually be an employee's friend, like we'd probably resolve some issues too. But I do hear what you're saying about like, actually it's not personal in this situation, right? Especially when it's like, something really is going wrong. It's not discrimination, it's not inequities, it's not a terrible supervisor or toxic environment. Like, you actually have an issue with performance or how you're showing up. Yeah, you decided to crash out at work today, had nothing to do with work, it was just you crashing out. Yeah, I totally get that. I think one of the things that kind of prompted for me was to think about like, what would I actually say? Like, if human resources is not your friend, what is it? And I was like, what if we actually said human resources is like really a resource? Like, so many of the issues I hear, and like, and again, in all honesty, like I was very much in most of like all of my HR roles, like in a visible place, right? That's very much me, and like how I decided to be the HR professional that I am. Like, I want to be visible. I want people to call me. I want people to come into my office. I think that's how that trust and relationship is built. That being said, a lot of the issues that I hear, even whether or not they're visible or not, is another story, because that's another offshoot. But people will be like, oh, well, I got, I didn't get this, or I was treated unfairly or whatever. And it's like, okay, but did you have the conversations that you needed to discuss what was going on? And now you're in a situation where your supervisor has been documenting all of this for 6 months because they knew they wanted to get rid of you, but you haven't access the resources that you need. That said, my supervisor is discriminating against me. And on the other end, I think, right, not visible HR teams do have a responsibility to say, hey, if this is happening, if you're experiencing this, we also have the history, right, of saying like, well, I went to HR in my last job and they just fired me, But I think that's the thing of like, actually don't think about HR as your friend or your not friend. Think about how HR can truly be a resource to you. And if you start thinking like, how can I leverage human resources to support me with what I've got going on in life, whether that's personal or what I need in terms of my workplace structure, my compensation, right. How can they help you? What system is in place to help you? And whether it's out there or not, unless you have just there's some scary HR teams, there's scary orgs out there. I'm not saying that. But most of the time, there's going to be some type of process to support you as a resource. You just have to know where to tap in and why. And that's why I do a lot of the discussions that I have with Black women about here's how to get what you want about whatever situation that you're dealing with. It's actually there. HR is there to facilitate that. But if you're using the wrong language or you're going at it the wrong way, then I can't help you, right? Like, I can't.
In spite of how this field is operated and however long it's been a thing, we've all had our experiences. I think the thing for me is the name of the field itself is quite literally what the job is. Yes, we have to learn laws and compliances and have well thought out structures for all the things that we want to, have your managers and the senior leaders implement. But like, if you don't come to me about anything, I don't know what happened. Because another thing, again, reasons we need to speak up and be a little bit more visible in our places of work is you have no idea how often the ratio of HR people to the people they support is drastically off. I've won an HR team of one and has ranged anywhere between 50 to 130 people. That's too many motherfucking people.
I need to have more conversations with like HR people who are with it, okay? Because I had a client that was like talking, and I also had an interview a while ago. I mean, this was like early career, and I was like, what? I was like, when you're interviewing for an HR role, like a legit HR role where maybe you're like a generalist, a business partner, you need to ask how many people you're supporting. And they'd be like, why? It's like, because they're going to call you. You're going to have to help people. Like, the ratio has to be there.
And busy, and you're not going to like it.
And it's going to be terrible. And then because of that, you're going to not be able to show up for people. Like, you moved into HR to show up for people. Like, you're not gonna be able to show up for people. But like, when I was interviewing and I would be asking that, people would be like, we were like, oh, how many HR people do you have? Oh, we're just one. Oh, how many employees do you have? 300. Huh? Come
Solve that
again.
problem a lot
Did you
sooner.
say that with
Like,
a straight face?
what do you mean
The person that
300?
said that,
Like,
I legit ghosted that employer. And because I was conflicted. I was like, did he just, no, he didn't say that.
because that's why
He's
we
like,
have all the issues right now with like the, all the HR people talking about being burnt out and leaving the field or
and
trying to
they've
find
laid so
smaller
many off.
places. And it's like, all right, well, I'm probably going to get laid off eventually anyway, because that's the ecosystem we're currently in. So it's
Period.
like, well, it sucks that I don't have a job and I got a severance package of anywhere. If your organization likes you enough, you might get 4 to 6 weeks. If they liked you a lot, you might get a little bit more than that. But like, do I take that because I don't have to deal with 500 people on an HR team of 2?
Yeah.
Or
And
do I
then,
just like try and suffer and find the next spot right away?
and that feeds into the issue of HR is not supporting, HR is not doing this. Or like, and I feel like that really feeds into this issue right now. So many, and I'm not saying it's right, but if people saying, oh my gosh, this employer ghosted me, this recruiter never called you back. You know why? Because they have too many recs. And because they
Mm-hmm.
laid off all their
Too many
recruitment
people.
teams after, there was a huge hire. Like, I felt like everybody got hired as a recruiter, like,
Right.
post pandemic. And then all of a sudden, it's
Uh-huh.
like, oh, just kidding. We laid all of them off. Like, it was like 6 months. I was like 6 months to a year. I was like, what's going on?
And we could go into that too, because I'm for sure one of those people, but the perspective I try to share is as someone who works in the field and seeing the way HR candidates have been treated,
Yeah.
it because when you're not on the inside, you don't have data. So for me, it's 50-50. As a job seeker, it's like, all right, cool. Like, I know what we should be doing, and I fully understand you lack the resources to do so. But the other half of this is like, there wasn't enough support. Potentially there wasn't enough resources for the human resources. Like,
Period.
we're being told no for a lot of things. Your hiring managers are coming up with new ways to interview, and they want to add 19 questions to an application, and
And a
we
one-way interview.
and a one-way interview.
Oh.
And I'm like, the job market is trash. It has been for years. It's this constant back and forth. It gets popularity. The PR stunt becomes it's a candidates market. It's the company market, whatever else, right? And it makes the news. Then you get all these dumbass Medium and Wall Street Journal opinion articles about it, and everybody and
So
their mama
bad.
telling younger people that they don't want to work. And it's like, no, we do want to work. I just don't want to work for an asshole.
So bad.
So
I
like,
can't tell you
yes, there's
how,
plenty of
like,
things
really
candidates can
stressed out I
do, but
was.
like, the candidates only have so much responsibility in the process. So like,
Period.
what's going on the inside where you're not, if you're a hiring manager, you're not listening to your recruiters. If you're a recruiter, what kind of interview training you've gone through and implemented at your organization for the people who's on your interview panels, where they're not going through 19 rounds of interviews. We don't even have to go that far. These applications with 9 interview questions on them before you, that's
Are
complete.
you reading them? If you don't have time, I know you're not reading them.
I'm gonna speak right in the camera. A lot of you have admitted y'all was doing the little fun series at
Make
your little
eye
work
contact.
events and talking about how the average time to read a resume is 6 seconds. So you mean to tell me you reading a
Oh, it for
resume, but you
sure
got
is.
5 open-ended questions on the application and you read all
You're
that
not
too?
reading them.
Come on, son.
Yeah.
Play with somebody else. Like,
Because respectfully, I know people get upset with me when I say this. I was like, I'm gonna tell, as somebody who used to do high volume recruitment, that 5 seconds is real.
it's
I know
real.
you
You're
don't believe me.
flying.
It's real. Like, I can, like, a well trained recruiter can do that. Like, they're
Mhm.
skimming the whole thing and really fast. Like, you have 5 seconds to convince me to read more. So no, you're not reading all those questions.
I'm not reading the answers to all those questions. And then you
And
turn around.
everybody submitting a video interview too.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all
You're
are
not
not
watching that
watching
whole
all of
video.
those. You're not watching it.
You looking to see who's producing this video like they're a high level TikTok content creator. This is an interview. I'm trying to get
Which is
paid. I
insane.
got bills to pay. I got kids. Like, people have all these different circumstances, and it's like, what are these added loopholes? You know
Yeah.
what they are? These are people putting all these steps because it's not illegal to not do it. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a it's not a rule. So like
Yeah.
it's not
I'm
not
not
inappropriate.
considering your protected classes, but you will do a video
You
interview.
you're gonna jump through some hoops.
Did your kid walk in the background? Was that your cat? I used to okay, well, we won't go on my rant about the video interview thing. I hated them. If anybody's watching, I didn't say this, okay? I was
said it. I
towing the
think they
line.
heard.
No, I'm just kidding. But I was like, I used to love it when a cat was on the video. Okay, I was like, look at
Yeah.
this is the best interview
This
I've
is
had all
your
day.
life.
Hired. Bring your cat to work.
Yeah, bring him. This is your life. Like I don't, I had
No,
to
but
do
yeah.
a whole like bias training thing on that once we were all forced to stay in the house during quarantine, because it was like, yeah, we don't know people's situations outside of this, and you're going to see some stuff that you've never seen before. You're going to end up not even just in an interview, but a work meeting where somebody got two babies in the background crying. They got to dip out the meeting, tell you to hold on for 10 minutes while they change a diaper while they feeding the other
They'll be
one.
right back.
These are real people we dealing with. Like,
And like, it's sad though that we had to get to that. I'm not saying like about you, but it's sad though because
yeah.
that was already there. Like, let's do this in general, right? To just understand that people are people and like they have life. Yeah, we had it too. I'm not even say that, right? Like,
we back there
it
because
doesn't
everybody
matter.
forced everybody back in the damn office after they've relocated and all this other stuff. And look, I'm for hybrid work. I am.
Yeah.
You can't call 4 days a week hybrid though.
That's period.
I might as well just sleep in the office because we back to what we was doing before COVID took over the world. 4 days ain't hybrid. Whoever's listening or want to listen, it's not. So talk to whoever you need to talk to.
That's what's wrong with alternative work agreements. 1 day doesn't count. To an HR professional doing the little form. The little form, if it's only 1 day.
I can just not work on Fridays if that's the only day I'm not allowed to come. We don't have to come to the office.
Just give me the day off.
Just give me the day off. Make it a 4-day work week if that's what we really do.
Because that's the assumption. I'm at home doing nothing.
I just figured that because guess what I'm doing? I'm turning on my Switch. I'm turning on my PC. And I'm not. HR is one of the easiest things I've ever done in my life. And to a lot of people, that's going to sound bad.
I love that for you. Cannot relate. I love that for you.
And with all of the stuff that obviously make the job hard, at the end of the day for me, my brain gets going around what process can I create in the short and long term to help get to a solution for myself, for an individual, for a team, and for the organization. I legit think about those steps, those solutions in those steps. What's the short term versus the long term? Who's being impacted by this? Who am I leaving out of this?
Yeah.
Most of an HR person's day, other than obviously dealing with the mess that comes through on your Zendesk tickets and the managing people's benefits and all that stuff. Shout out Zendesk. Y'all be keeping my life in order. I'm not getting paid for that. Y'all cool. It's just R&D most of the time. You're trying to make sure that you putting this thing together legally and ethically. You're Googling a lot of shit to make sure you do that. And you're on Slack and in your groups to do a lot of that. You're on your phone and on your computer all day anyway. There's nothing hard about this.
Mm-hmm. I always love. I'm sorry. We're gonna go to the next hot take in just a minute, but I love that you said that because people are like, "Well, I just don't know if I can do HR because all of this is like." You know how much I get on Google? I don't remember what the FMLA rules are. I don't remember them. I'm going to Google them. I mean, I know generally what I'm looking for. I don't know the rules. I don't know how many people. I don't know the time.
Listening to an article, like,
just out
let's
here.
Let's be resourceful.
We're just kind of being adults. I mean, they like to make it up. We're just all doing our best. We can't remember what the law said.
While I'm making sure I remember these 3 executive orders that showed up between 1964 and 1993.
And that may have changed between presidential elections. We don't know.
Sometimes that happens. Sometimes.
Best of luck to you.
Sometimes.
All right, hot take number 3, which we are only on number 3. We're gonna have to do a take 2, part 2 for sure. What is your craziest HR story? We've thrown the one sentence out of the window. Have fun.
Yeah. Um, this might not seem crazy at the start of this, but once you go back a few minutes into the conversations we've already had about inclusion, you're gonna understand why this pissed me off immediately after I realized what happened. So, it's an organization I was working at, and we were trying to organize open enrollment. Open enrollment is one of the more complex things to make happen for everyone because we HR professionals and leaders have started that process long before you get the 42 emails letting you know you need to do your open enrollment.
Heavy on the 42. Sorry.
Sidebar. I don't care if you have rolling enrollment or not. Go check it anyway. Go in the portal, go to your account, make sure everything's cool, ain't nothing changed. Because once we submit that information, and you like, well, I want to change this, guess who you calling? You calling Blue Cross, you calling Aetna, you calling UHC, and we gonna coordinate. We gonna be in the middle, but we're not. I can't fix this for you directly. This is now your provider's problem.
I might have been too
Sometimes.
nice, Tank.
Sometimes.
I said, wait, I might have been too nice.
I'm gonna brag a little bit. The times that I have managed open enrollment, I have gotten 100% completion rate before the end date.
That is like the dream.
Because I'm going to tell you right now what I tell these people. If you do this shit, you're going to have the benefits. You're going to have all the questions you want answered once this closes. If you don't do this and you want health insurance through the company, you're going to have to figure that out. Mm-hmm. This isn't new. This isn't your first job, most of you. This isn't the first time. I don't care who was doing it for you. I worked at a place where the HR person was doing a lot of this stuff for a lot of people. Absolutely not.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh,
one, that's not supposed to be a thing anyway.
No.
This is no benefits.
No.
This is money that's coming out your pocket.
Mm-mm.
2, like, what do you mean you did? I send email every day. That one or two things is going on. You got me blocked, or you don't read your emails, which makes me question your performance. Because you're not reading the other emails you're supposed to be reading.
Oh, get them.
Yeah. I'm coming for all y'all.
Read your emaurs from HR. That is the first
rule. Read your
rule.
emails.
I promise it matters.
How boring or useless you think it is. There's a reason we sent it. So we're planning open enrollment, and I'm talking to my peers about this thing needing to happen because where I was, we were using a PEO. I wasn't in charge of benefits directly, but I was responsible as an HR person for the U.S. attachment for this organization. And for about 3 weeks, I was just kind of picking at this team. Like, hey, I'm not trying to take nobody, steal no spotlight, but like the actual year is ending, and I can't have however many people we had at the time not have health insurance, right? So like someone solved this problem before Christmas because this isn't the time to be doing open enrollment. I ended up in a meeting with my manager and 2 people from this benefits team. And one of those people quite frankly told me to stay in my place. So I said, cool. A few hours later, I'm having a conversation with one of my peers. We sat across from each other. He was relatively new, but he had a lot of pull already. So he'd asked me about it. He was one of the many people who would ask me when open enrollment was. And I was like, here's what happened. And he was like, do you need my help? Because like, this is what I'm here for. I'm biz ops. Like I'm the communications guy. So like, if you're not getting pushed on something, use me. So I was like, I didn't even know that's what you did. And I'm glad you finally figured it out. So we had this conversation. He hits up this same team. The next morning, I woke up and they had this big old grandiose plan for rolling out open enrollment. And they're like, yeah, we actually were waiting to hire someone to like add to the team so they could do that for us. And I'm like, okay, but I know how to do that.
I was like, wait, what? Without you?
Here's where the DEI element of this came into play.
I'm listening.
Me and that same guy who helped me out and got the ball rolling, he showed me the email that he sent. Me and this guy do not look the same. And we went out to dinner later that night. And he was like, I don't know how to say this, but I think this is what happened to you. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. You're more than welcome to say it, because if I say it, it's not going to matter. We're talking about something so simple yet routine that you had the audacity to tell me to stay in my place for, when I know it the best, because you all don't know how anything in this country works. You didn't know we didn't have mandatory vacation time. You had people asking how the other countries get more vacation days than we do. Fun fact, the United States is the only developed country that doesn't have any vacation laws on any level. We're not talking about sick leave and all the other stuff. Literal, just like, I want to just not be at work and take care of my family and myself. There's no law with a minimum for that. In other countries, primarily Europe, there's like minimum 25 days that your employer has to offer you for X whatever days off it is. Germany's like 27. Iran has the most in the world. It's like 50 something.
That's nice.
And I'm like, I get why, but also that's ridiculous, right? So that story were one of many at this organization. I had to get sideways with somebody who was a VP at this organization, because they were used to talking crazy to people, and I'm not that person. Um, which, in the light of like code switching, because that's what I'm sure a lot of people are looking for. That's not a thing that I ever do. It's never been something I did. It's something that will get me in trouble, and has. It's been worth it every single time, regardless of how hard things got after. Because who would I be? Who do I think I am, being in a position and in a field that's supposed to represent people, and I'm not showing up as myself, and then you know putting on a face, plastering, with the values plastered all over the metaphorical or physical wall sometimes, and telling you need to show up as your true self, and I'm out here fronting. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what happened. I found out what happened and why it happened. I got sideways with everybody after that. And I was like, cool. So when I tell y'all some shit needs to go down in the States, ask questions. There's a reason I'm telling you. More often than not, it's something that legally has to happen. And just because you don't know the rules doesn't mean you are exempt from them because you do not live here.
And that's interesting, because you're working in this like global context, but that's even true for the US. Like I remember having like a lot of challenges when I was, and like again, this is me like fresh out of college, where I'm like, hey, you need to be careful about what you're doing in California. Hey, you need to be careful about what you're doing in New York. I know a lot of people have like the California beef about they have too many benefits, too many laws, too many protections. I'm actually not in that camp at all. It just means that you need to just be intentional about what you're doing, right? And I would keep having this conversation that's like, you guys are making sales here, there. I'm the one who has to hire the talent to fit your budget. You are not aware of the laws legally for compensation, benefits, all of the additional employer insurances for that state. So now because you don't value me as a business operation in relation to what you're doing as an asset, now you've made a decision that has negatively impacted the organization legally and otherwise, because you undervalued me and my skill set as an HR professional who at the time was like 21. Doing my thing. Okay. All right. And I think honestly that's so much of what happens to Black women. I loved hearing your experience, because a lot of times we have the systems of oppression, but we experience it so much differently based on the different stereotypes about Black women and Black men. But I think the consistent piece here is just the undervaluing of a resource and knowledge and expertise. And in probably our context, right? Probably some ageism too, right? Like,
yeah.
They were just like, oh, this is just this little girl out of college. It was like, no, I have a master's degree. I have a certification. This is what I love doing. It's what I spend time learning about. And actually, I really care. Like, I want you to have a successful sales deal.
Right.
But you can't have a successful sales deal unless you leverage the expertise and the resources. And that's very much like the same thing with open enrollment, right? One of my I was gonna say one of my worst stories about open enrollment, it was not like anybody's fault. We went through a systems migration, and then
Ooh.
right after that we went through open enrollment.
Nope.
I woke up one morning. I don't think it was the first one. I don't think it was the first set of paycheck. I think it was like the second paycheck where you're like, oh, I've got like the sense of security. We've already done one paycheck. And I get to work and I have all these emails, and it's because like every single benefit had deducted twice from every employee's paycheck. It was not like that in payroll. The system did it. I was like, I'm gonna quit.
Oh yeah, I would have went right back home. I would like, oh my goodness.
Get somebody else to do it.
No, I don't work here no more.
I don't work here.
I don't work
need
anymore.
this job.
What do you mean? What do you mean I didn't show up to work today? You're right. I don't work here no more.
And again, me. Well, I mean, I went to work and I called everybody. And there is, and I'm not trying to get no cease and desist letters, okay? But there is a payroll company out there. And if I'm going to, if I ever stop being full-time a business owner, I go back to HR, which I'd probably be more likely to go back to DEI. I'm not even going to lie. Even though we have all the issues that we do, I'd probably go back to DEI. If I were to ever to go to HR and they said, this is their payroll system, I don't care how much you're going to pay me. I don't care what my title is. I don't care what I'm doing. Declined offer. I will never touch that payroll system. That was the HRS. It's not just payroll. I'm never. You can pay me.
I could rattle off 3 that you might be thinking of, because I got beef with them too. Some of them.
I might edit it out. I want to hear it though.
But
I might edit it out because I'm not trying to get sued. Go ahead and spill the tea.
We're gonna let it fly. Workday and I have not been friends for a long time.
Okay. Workday. I hear a lot of people hate Workday, but like Workday looks so good from the outside.
Workday
it
on
always
the outside is like, y'all got it. You really do. You got the market on point. You ain't never seen it. When was the last time you seen a commercial or a poster ad on public transit, anything like that for Workday? People just know what that shit is.
Even job seekers.
I've seen it for
job
the
seekers
other
hate the Workday, but yeah.
Yeah. It's just large. And I think a lot of my hate for systems isn't even really like majority like the systems. We can edit out names. We ain't got to put that. But
I'm gonna probably keep
it's okay. HR people not understanding the importance of their HR tech stack. Like, that's a thing. Like, you can be great at all the other stuff. If you don't understand or take the time to understand how these technologies get implemented, how they change, how you need to make it work for your organization, because they are going to be different everywhere you go. You know, Bamboo HR works different at every company because every company is different. Every person is different. All the needs are different. The benefits are different. Their growth rates are different. So like, needing to understand your HR tech stack, how these things do and don't talk to each other, and how people interact, it doesn't matter if you're in the platform the most out of everyone every single day. There are points in the day where someone is in there looking for something and they don't know what a thing is, even if they've been resourceful enough to find it.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to applicant tracking systems, those are the ones I know the best.
Yeah.
The way I have seen some folks' ATS is set up internally is honestly a lot of reasons why y'all don't hear back about opportunities, about interviews, things going to your spam, like all kinds of stuff. And it's because, you know, there's no effort put into the actual technology, and we're buying the technology and convincing our leaders to give us the bread to buy this tech because we're like, this is going to solve the problem for us. And it's like, no, this is to help you organize the problem so you can find the solutions. It isn't just this like, we spent the 13, 14 grand to whatever amount maximum is, depending on how big your company is, like just to like have a bunch of names and resumes and phone numbers in there. Like
Yeah.
there's a whole lot of stuff that your platform does, and you need to get better at using it. And you can't use the excuse of like, well, I just don't understand technology. You understood money enough to ask for the budget to buy it.
You needed me to get the candidates, so you implemented this, but now you're not wanting the resources
And
to
now you're
help me
not
actually
trying to,
manage
that's
it.
crazy. And then you got to,
Which
two
one?
years
Pick
in, there's
pick
three other
one.
platforms you got to look at, and you realize two
Yeah.
of those three don't talk to each other, and they absolutely need to talk to each other because you ain't do no
Yes.
research.
Which is why I think a lot of times, honestly, Workday seems better because it's like, oh, I don't have to do any of the integrations or the talking of
Everything's
systems, and
there.
integrations are so frustrating. Like that is a huge issue.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I can't say that I didn't know because when I was early in my career doing that high volume recruitment, I was the recruiter. And then we added another person and was like, I didn't realize how much this was built towards my brain, right? Because I was the only
Right.
decision maker. I'm the person in here. And
Right.
so it was that. And then it wasn't until I was managing a team where it's like, people don't realize that even in a system, well, one across organizations, people are like, oh, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. Every HR function is different. So it's always going to be
Right.
different. But even from one recruiter to another, like we manage tags, statuses, communications, all different, unless we're, unless you have a very rigid program, right? But like for me, I was like, as a manager, I was like, I want you to do whatever's going to help you be most effective. Like,
Right.
just let me know if I have to find something, what your process is, so I can follow you in that and like support you and answer to the powers that be.
Right. Right.
In a way that, not in the bow down powers that answer to, but like reporting, whatever, just status tracking and things like that. But like, yeah, people really underestimate like how complex sometimes HR systems can be. And I think when we talk about all things wrong with HR, to bring back circle, that's definitely one of them. Like, our systems aren't always the most effective or
Yeah.
to know what you do. I got one last question because I do have a call. I would love to. We're definitely going to do it. We're definitely going to schedule another one. But there was something that you said. I think that's a really good way to wrap this, honestly, with like your experiences and mine. And that you mentioned at the beginning with this idea of like Black excellence, right? And be really honestly, I hope that all of you listening here, like, you don't take this episode as like a reason to not join HR. Like, take this episode as a reason to be like really lean into what you're passionate about. And like, you can hear me and Tank, like, we're passionate about what we did. Well, I did. Tank does in HR, right? And like, it's because we need that change. We need those voices. I think in so many ways, our path has been different, and it shows that like there are multiple paths to having an impactful career in human resources. I think in this case, right, we have this duality and standards of like Black excellence, right? For me, when I came in and I started my HR career, I started off saying like, I've come from a top 10, top 10. What is that? A top top 10. It's top 7 now, but like top 10 public research institution, which is regarded as like a public Ivy, right? I came in, I interviewed, I was in my master's degree program, I was doing my bachelor's and my master's. I was that girl, doing my bachelor's and my master's at the same time. I walked in every day with my human resources textbook, right? My master's was in management, but I came in there with that, right? And so this idea, when we talk about Black excellence, also the funny thing is like, when I walked in, people were like, oh, we're not here who we thought we interviewed. Because I sound one
Mm-hmm.
on the phone. Because I sound one on the phone. I'm not code switching, okay? My mom is just proper. Okay? She's from Bermuda, okay? They're still colonized, okay? Actually, still colonized.
Hey,
That's another
clock
story.
it, yeah.
What I couldn't use AAV at home. I would have been in trouble. Okay, this is what it is. Okay, but anyway, so all of that being said, yes, I sound white on the phone. Yes, I showed up to the interview. They were shocked. They hired me anyway. I came to work with my textbook. What do you want to say? But that being said, like, I came into this conversation with like, one of my first conversations with the CEO was like, oh, well, what are you learning in that textbook? Like, we have, we're in this process of like, redoing our employee handbook. Like, we'd love to learn like what you're learning about in this space, right? In this
Right.
great innovative organization, institution, right? In my master's program here, right? So I came with this like bundle of Black excellence as soon as I showed up. Like, and in that regard, like, it also set certain requirements and expectations of me showing up each day, which
Mhm.
long term is not sustainable, right? Long term led me to anxiety and depression, and that's a whole other thing, right? And we talked a little bit about that on some lives, but like all of that being said, like Black excellence can be such a challenge. So as we wrap up, I want to, that will kind of be my last question for you. Like, what has this look like, this dynamic of Black excellence? What would you say to other people who have listened today that want to, join and be in human resources with that dynamic, and like, yeah, your advice.
I will. I'll share this, and it's something I heard another creator say in the last couple of weeks. When you fake it to make it, when you make it, you're gonna be fake. And that sat with me since I've heard it, because it's something that I've said before, and more in the corporate context, but also in a larger scheme of being uh, not just a minority as a person of color in human resources, but the gender I identify as. We are very, 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 very few. There are very few Black men in human resources. I didn't know this was a thing as a career path until I was almost 30. That was only a few years ago. I am larger in stature. I've always been athletic. It was always, you're gonna do this, you're gonna be hooping, you're gonna be playing football, all these things. And whenever it's said like, oh, you could be this very what's seen as a niche thing in the career options, but there's the necessary things you have to do. Obviously, you got to learn a couple of things. You got to figure out how to convert your experience in a resume and an interview. There's a way you have to show up in terms of making sure you're prepared to have a conversation about what you are trying to do with this person's organization. Because at the end of the day, this is still a business, and you have to prove that you are at least willing to work towards not being a liability. All of those are standard. We don't have to dig into that part of the conversation. But for me, it's dignity over dollars. I can't recommend enough how important it is to be yourself, because as minorities, regardless of whatever category you fall into, LGBTQI plus, disability, veteran, any of that, doesn't matter, right? Would you rather double the stress on your life by pretending to fit a square peg in a round hole, or your life's already stressful enough? It's so much more fun being yourself, regardless of the difficulties that come with that. Of all the times I've gotten in trouble for showing up as myself, I knew, even if I couldn't articulate it or dissect it or unpack it in those moments, sometimes years later, there's stuff that happened to me in retail that I haven't thought about until literally in the last couple years. You will be so much more successful, and you will attract the people and places you should be attracting when you are not pretending. We could talk about the job market landscape. It's a shit show for every field and category. That's really easy to do. But in this context, if you are transitioning spaces within HR, or if you are like, I don't know if I should do this, do it. Know that it's going to be hard. Know that you're going to run into some bullshit. Know like that's a thing. I will go back to what I said earlier. This is one of the easiest things that I've done in my life. And the fact that it has become such a complex venture, especially when we talk about things like DEI and the whole argument that was taking place between 2020 and 2021 of like, well, who's responsible for it? People are, period. Humans. If you at work, if
Period.
you in store, you at your people's crib, you at a club or bar, every single person contributes to how others engage with each other in that situation. All it takes is one moment of being slightly not yourself to shift the vibe of any and everything that you're doing.
Period.
So obviously, come over here. If you're brand new to it, come over here with as an open book, right? Learn what you need to
Yeah.
learn, but don't just learn the things that you need to be doing every single day. Learn the things that have happened that should not have happened.
Mm.
Learn the gray areas, because humans change so quickly and you're responsible for a lot of them at once. You are never getting the same person or groups of people every day. So if you are in it and you're looking to get out of it, there you have your reasons, and I respect the hell out of them. I know so many, and it's mostly black women, unfortunately, who have been like, fuck this, I'm good.
We're done.
I get it. To an extent. As a black man in HR, you get treated, as a black man in corporate, you get treated a little bit differently. It's you're cool until you're not, but you're not a black woman, so we're not gonna kick you out just yet. But
Yep.
don't play yourself because of the barriers of entry. The reason this is really easy for me is because I love it. I love the chaos that it comes with, and I love the fact that I finally found something that, whether organizations and empires or whatever agree with the way I relay that information, I'll end this here. HR itself don't got enough crash outs and people saying what needs to be fucking said when things happen. And that is why we are where we are, and a lot of the negative spaces that, people are having and engagements in your work life. Be yourself, continue to be yourself, unpack the things that keep you from doing that. Um, and slide on over and find people like the two of us. I'll talk to whoever. Like, there's
Period.
been so many people who's hit me up on TikTok since I've been making videos. Um, and this isn't a credit to me. It's not. I think people just, you need someone that looks like you, that's willing to talk to you, communicate to you in the way that you understand, to help you make things make sense. And a lot of us don't have that. I was the first black man I ever met in HR. That's that that says that's heavy for me. So
Yeah.
to have the trust of black women, especially once we've been in it way longer than I have, to come to me and be like, "Yo, Tank, what I'm doing wrong?" And I'm like, "I thought you had the answer. You
Maybe
asked
we
me a
should
question."
talk.
But also, like,
Yeah.
it's a huge testament to the groundwork of that's already been done long before I showed up. I just get on the internet, run my mouth, and hope somebody is like cool with it to some extent. Um, and that's what it will always be. I just show up as you are, show people you a little bit crazy, um, and what will happen will happen.
I love all of this. I think what I took from these pieces, to really just sum it up, which I think are a lot of things that have been true about my career. So I think, hey, it's Mercedes tank approved. Do not go out there upholding the BS, okay? A sign that you're doing what you're supposed to do, whether that's because you love it or you're passionate, or like maybe it is hard, but like it was hard to get there, but you're there now. Like, ease is such a sign of like really being and doing what you want to do. That's what I talk about on my platform all the time. Ease is a sign. Like, follow that, because it might be hard to get there, but once you're there, like showing up and doing what you're meant to do will feel like ease. And the last thing, which I've really been thinking about a lot, is how when we're in a space where we're liberating ourselves and and really walking in our calling or our purpose and what we're supposed to do, no matter which, however way, whatever your worldview is, like just doing what you feel like your person was designed to do, it liberates others, right? And I think in this conversation, right, like we have this opportunity as HR professionals to shift things and to be in that space, in the right space. And I think if you take nothing from this, take that, honestly, that you deserve to show up in this space. You deserve to be the representation that you are missing.
Mhm.
Same. I didn't know any other black HR professionals either, but I found it, and I was like, in my master's program, or excuse me, in my bachelor's program, and I was like, this is what I want. And that's what we got to do.
Yeah.
So all of that being said, thank you, Tank, for like spending all literally all all of this time, like in a good way. This is so good. I could keep going. Like I'm telling you, if I didn't have a call, there's always a call. I gotta get the phone. But we're gonna do this again. We're gonna ask the questions that we were actually supposed to ask. Maybe we'll get there. Maybe we won't. Maybe it'll just be another rant, which is fine. I think this is good. But Tank, I know you've got some exciting things, and I know even if you don't feel that way, you're just amazing, right? Like a breath of knowledge. I think if more HR professionals work with you, talk with you, engage with you in whatever way, or just humans who want to be better humans in general too. Like that's the thing. Y'all have to go into HR to be better humans, okay? You should connect.
Just be good people.
Be good people. That's most of the battle. Okay,
it's easy.
Don't be an asshole, like you said.
It's fucking easy.
So Tank, tell me. I know you probably don't want to talk about. I know you're probably not going to talk about. But tell me like what you're doing with Patreon and like how people can join you and TikTok and all of the things so people can really connect with you because they should. They need to.
Well, this has been so much fun. I'm so happy that you asked me to be a part of this. I'm on TikTok, as we said at the beginning. HR's Agent of Chaos, all smushed together. Don't forget the S after HRS. But I'm on there. I post when I post. Patreon is the same thing, same handle. And I have a lot of writing that I'm going to put on there. And it's more than HR, so just more about me, because I do think in the creator context, like we know who I am in regards to as how it relates to human resources, but the things that drew me to that and the influences and just the life stories. So there's going to be a mix of videos and writing. All the writing will be free. You know, the videos can be a little bit longer format. Some of them are teaching, some of them is just me, sharing. But HR's Agent of Chaos on TikTok and Patreon. And then, I'm on LinkedIn, Francis Tank Rhodes. That's easy. You can type in Tank. I don't know nobody else on LinkedIn named Tank. They're gonna show up as you're gonna see me smiling with my anime stuff faded in the background. And yes, come pull up, ask whatever, whenever. I go live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Fridays on TikTok. 6:30 p.m. Central Time. I still got to get my brain right because I moved from the East Coast recently. But Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays, 6:30 on TikTok, Central Time. Come through. It's me gaming, doing Ask Me Anythings. And it could be HR stuff. It could be some life stuff. As long as you behave, I'll answer the life stuff. But yeah, pull up and support your boy. And I will do my best to keep doing what I'm doing to remind you that you're fucking people and you should be treated as such.
Period. I love it because it's like it's not just ask me anything. It's not just get in the work. It's like we're gonna have fun. We're gonna enjoy. I'm showing up by my full self. You get the whole thing, okay? Mm-hmm. And yes, like showing up to Tank's lives, TikTok live. All the content is always great. So thank you, Tank. So all of the information for you to connect with Tank will be in the show notes. Y'all better make sure you subscribe because we will be doing this again, okay? Because this is fun. This is actually therapeutic if we're being honest here a little bit. A little therapeutic. I'm not even gonna lie.
I'm glad.
I'm not even gonna lie. So come back and learn more from Tank and what we're both doing, I guess, at that period of time too. But if you're listening to this, thank you so much for joining us for this podcast. I hope that this really inspired you. If you've been thinking about HR, maybe you are in HR and it's inspired you to do things a little bit different. I hope either way you're gonna go and use that information to just change the world. That is the whole point, right? And for my beautiful Black women listening, if HR is part of your Black woman bliss, go ahead and do it. It's part of mine, was part of mine, will always be a part of mine. And so I'm excited to, if you're here, to join you and to help welcome you into the HR fold, so to speak. Okay, not the elite one. This one is different. Okay. So if you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share this with another professional sister in love, and of course, leave a review. You can also support the podcast on Spotify. And until next time, we wish you all of the best in building a successful career, business, and lifestyle you love. See you later. Bye. Thank you, Tank. Bye.